Let's go gambling!
Presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world.
Falado passa mal, rapaz.
And welcome back to the second episode of the Papaya Podcast. My name is L1, and with me I've got Odd, MC.
What's up?
Big thanks to everyone tuning in today, and an extra shout out to those who joined us from the last episode. Like, for real, extra shout out. If you remember what we were talking about, you're a part of the club. All right, let me stop.
Treehouse Club.
It's great to have you back. Today we're diving into a mix of nostalgia and some spicy debates. We'll kick things off by exploring how video games have woven themselves into the fabric of pop culture, from classic arcade hits to today's blockbuster titles. We're talking about N64, Sega Genesis, to like Xbox 360, Xbox Now.
Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
There we go.
So I was broke. I can picture this.
Wait, what? After that, we're taking a closer look at one of gaming's most iconic characters, Hitman. We'll chat about how this stealthy assassin has evolved over the years and what's kept him relevant all this time, or irrelevant. And then to wrap it all up, we've got a fun debate on the table. Who's truly the worst villain in video game history? So sit back, relax, and take a break with the papaya. You had a segment coming up. Like you really wanted to talk about something.
Yeah, like in preparation for this, you know, like I was like looking around, and our producer, he sent me a little email.
Yeah.
Little article.
Okay.
And when I saw this
email.
yeah.
What do we 2000? Talk to
Pager.
AOL?
Page me.
Oh no. All right, it was a text. But
you should start off with give you a call.
Text.
messenger pigeon.
There you go. We're on Camelback, brother.
Rock with a note attached.
A little bottle.
Message in a bottle.
Went through my window. But no, he sent me this article, and I thought it was really cool. So this is kind of an old story, but I thought it was relevant.
Okay.
And it kind of goes like this. When I saw this is a headline.
Yeah.
This is what a headline's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, check this out.
Yeah.
9-year-old boy saves family after sneaking out of bed to play video games, only to discover house on fire.
Golly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
intense.
it's crazy.
Come on.
Now check this out.
Yeah.
9-year-old boy, David Hayden from Shelby, North Carolina, snuck out of bed one morning to play games when he noticed the smell of smoke and crackling glass.
Shit.
Recognized the situation, the young boy alerted his parents, and all 7 household members escaped unharmed. But
my God.
the house got burned.
Shit.
But they got out.
They got out.
They got out.
Yeah.
And what were you about to say?
No, I said they got out.
They got out.
Shit.
They got out.
Yeah, like you can live on.
You can live on. And when I saw this, I was like, even though the boy was missing, sneaking out of bed playing games or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that he got out of bed, play games, that saved his family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Games literally saved
his
the
life.
entire family,
Yeah.
and that's like crazy to me. And it brought a sense of remembrance,
Yeah.
a sense of familiarity.
Yeah.
One might even say a sense of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a perfect quote that kind of sums it all up. American author Bill Geist, the guy from TV, in the morning
The
cartoons,
news guy.
news,
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
morning shows. He said this. He said, "There's a lovely warmness about feeling of nostalgia, as though in one's own head, it's like you're putting on a pair of comfortable slippers and curling up in front of the fire."
Oh, that's fire.
Right? And it just encapsulates all that perfectly.
Yes.
And when we think of nostalgia, we often think of like our earliest childhood memories. Things like getting up in the morning to watch the Saturday cartoons.
Oh, 4Kids TV. What do you
come on?
Jet X.
Shaolin Showdown.
Shaolin Showdown. Dog.
Summer bike rides.
Yeah.
Just exploring.
Yeah.
And mine's
Yeah.
is like me remembering when we would play on our old console games.
Yeah.
And too afraid to turn off without a memory card.
Oh my.
Save
Them
this
days were
God.
taxing, bro.
We're talking about I have to keep that on for days.
For years, bro. Because if you turn it off, you gotta start back at the beginning.
Yeah.
Back then, this is gonna store memory.
Yeah.
And it kind of like makes me think, what was your guys' first experience with games?
Like games in general. We're talking about games. Or like,
Yeah, if you could just close your eyes
Yeah.
and just try to remember your first time playing a game, what would it be?
man, I would say the Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat 3.
Oh.
Whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat 3. because I remember my brother brought the console home, and I stayed at home at the time, and he was like, "Don't touch it," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I promise I won't." 'Cause he brought like a package of hella games with it. So I said, if I'm obedient, right, I'm gonna get this reward. So I didn't touch it. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even smell it.
Yeah.
He comes home.
Smells crazy.
He comes home.
Yeah.
Dashes it out. Everyone's playing the game. We're going crazy. But mind you, we didn't have shit like that. So it was like, like Super Nintendo. It was like 2005-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's
it's way
fine.
past its prime. But still, that's my early memory.
Chill.
It's fire.
I would say I've been playing Super Mario.
Yeah.
Like the not even like
Which version?
okay. Actually, I was about to say the keyboard version.
Oh.
Have you ever played the keyboard
Oh.
game?
Like the PC.
Oh,
The
PC.
Yep.
Okay.
But I played the PC original PC
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
But I don't. What I mean keyboard, like there used to be those old keyboard games that they
Like
what are
cool-
called.
Like coolmath.com or
Yeah.
something.
They had
Or mini-
Contra and everything on
Like all
it.
those mini clip games and more fun
Yeah.
zone and all that stuff.
Something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But that's why I might remember. I used to play Super Mario and all that. Have you ever played Bin Laden? What was it?
Oh,
Bomb Aladdin.
Oh,
Bomb
Bomb-
Laden.
Bomb Laden.
Bomb Laden.
Yo, I remember that.
Bro,
I
I
remember.
mean, like going to like the school libraries, gotta log on. And like back then, like, it wasn't as regulated, so you can go on any kind of website. But then you got cooked, and then you can only go on like coolmathgames.com or something like that.
Games. Oh.
The game I remember playing was like this little alien dude running in like this little box, and you gotta turn the platform, jump on like the other side, and then turn it around because the platforms have holes and stuff.
Oh, you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Alien
You're talking
Run or
about
something?
The runner.
Runner, yeah.
Some runner where that little guy that's jumping and he's spinning the.
Yeah. He's
I know
rotating.
exactly what you're talking about.
Bro, that was the only game viable. But before then, you get to hop on mini clip, like
Yes.
Dino Run. I don't know if you guys remember
I
Dino
remember
Run.
that.
It's like meteorite. Like the beginning, the game starts with a meteorite hitting the planet, and you're like a little yellow dinosaur.
Oh no, I remember this.
And you gotta run up the hill. You gotta run down. You gotta jump over.
And behind you is the blast, right?
Yeah, it's catching up, bro.
I remember.
But
yeah, go ahead.
I'm hearing Nintendo,
Yes.
and I'm hearing PC,
PC.
and it kind of reminds me of like the console wars. You guys know what that is?
Yeah,
Cut.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Explain to us.
The destruction
Destruction.
of gamers.
Gamers.
And the console warfare is like a competition for like between like video game companies and manufacturers, and it was kind of like they were trying to just get the biggest crowd, just attract all the consumers, right? And they would do this by like designing like the best console,
Yeah.
kind of like the automotive industry, right?
Yeah.
You're making the best car, and this was like how the start of like console exclusive games. This is what kind of invented Halo,
Yeah.
and Halo was crazy.
Yeah.
You got Halo for Xbox. What else did Halo have? Gears of War, or not? No, what did Xbox have? Gears of War, right?
Gears of War, Halo.
PlayStation had God
God
of
of
War.
God of War. Okay.
God of War. Infamous.
Yeah.
Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
You know what
Don't
I'm
add it. There's more titles. You get a little big one.
saying?
Assassin's
Ratchet
Creed.
and Hatch or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
Ratchet and Clank.
I was
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh no.
But that was,
Assassin's Creed's they do both Xbox and.
They do?
Yeah, they're all.
I remember.
platforms.
That's
Yes,
all.
okay.
The only this is how you know. So this is how you know if it's a exclusive or not.
Yeah.
The company. So Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
They want money no matter what. They'll never do an exclusive.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
They're
greedy.
greedy. Greedy.
Greedy dudes, huh?
What did Nintendo have? That
Um,
whole
everything.
franchise.
Zelda, right?
Zelda.
Metroid.
They're known for console exclusives.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
all.
Mario. There's
Yeah.
like,
Mario,
what?
Donkey
Yeah,
Kong,
yeah.
what's it called? SpongeBob. I think not SpongeBob.
This SpongeBob.
It's not exclusive. Mario Kart. I'm just going on.
I always thought
yeah.
Sonic was always part of Nintendo for like the longest time, but it was just part of Sega.
But,
Yeah.
but now they own. I think they own the license to. Oh no, they don't. Because there's a PS4 Sonic Unleashed. PS4
Oh, yeah,
Sonic
yeah.
Unleashed, so they
Yeah.
don't. They don't.
But
own
maybe
the
it's a
You know-
collaboration.
Maybe.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the console war, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Like,
Yeah.
what, in your opinion, what is the best console? Pinnacle.
I got my answer. You can go. You go first. I already went first.
You go first. I'm processing.
I'll give you guys
There you
mine,
go.
and then you guys can go
Okay.
at a time. So for me,
Yeah.
it was like the perfect
Yeah, I think you're gonna say exactly that.
is the GameCube.
100%.
Bro,
Explain.
Because it's just like that back then. Like it was just like maybe it's a little bit nostalgic. Maybe I have a little bias.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, G.
Okay,
I'll explain that later.
All right, but no, it was just perfect in every way. There was no flaws to it. Like yes, it was like older tech, and yeah, it came with its own problems. But to me, it was just the perfect. And like in design, in game wise, even today, people still use like the controller because Smash Bros and all that. But iconic.
Too.
And it's just like they never made back, like they never like did what like Xbox and PlayStation did, like GameCube 2, GameCube 3, yada yada yada. They just always
GameCube.
try to reinvent. They're always trying to stay like inventive,
Yeah.
And they always like the Wii U or whatever. I never had it. I never played it. I never fucked with it. I thought it was like I thought it was just a hype for a brief moment.
I will say this: don't shit on the Wii.
Okay,
Don't
all right.
shit on the Wii. I had a Wii.
You had a Wii.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, hit a soft spot.
That's spot. Tickling.
You hit my heart. No, I will say that I agree with you.
Okay.
When it comes to, if you were to ask me what is the best console ever like made, right?
Okay.
I would hands down say the GameCube.
GameCube.
Now
Right.
the thing is though, do I say that it's the most sold? Do I say it's the most? I wouldn't. I would say it no, right? But for me personally, there's only one game and one reason why the GameCube is the greatest console for me. Simple. Metroid Prime.
Oh my god.
When I tell you, a game has never, in the linear space, like we're talking about, it's just a linear campaign.
Yeah.
Single player solo, right?
Yeah.
None of this convoluted like, oh, it's an online the multiplayer. It's none of that stuff, right? It did have aspects in like the newer model, but like Metroid Prime as a first contender, first 2003 drop, in a linear gameplay, greatest game ever made.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
all. That's and then there's a lot of people. Oh, there's nostalgia stuff. Please go back and play.
It was really
This
good.
was from 2003.
3.
I'm not.
That's
telling you,
crazy.
I'm not telling you
Some
this
games-
is from 2010, 2012. This is 2003.
And it's like
Sheesh.
Nintendo has the capacity. Like you understand, like bro, they are so ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to like game design and like just games in general.
Games, yeah.
And like I feel like if they really try, like I'm not trying to disrespect like of course, there's programmers and artists and they're putting in hours of work. But I'm just saying like sometimes like they have this notion just to be inventive and new. You know what I mean? Like if they were in a series,
It's funny you say it, figure out.
game over.
It's funny you say it.
Game over.
If they ever got serious, man, have you seen the mistakes that they've been making this past like last decade when it comes to like
Yeah.
What do you mean?
when it comes to like consoles and like
Yeah.
For example, right, with the Wii, when they were transitioning from the Wii, right, like let's say there's the Wii U and stuff like that, right?
Right.
What they started doing was they didn't support previous games. They the GameCube that was very prolific, amazing stuff like that. You
Yeah.
could still play certain games in the GameCube, right? Then in the Wii U, you could still play those games and it would work. Then after that, just dead silence.
That kind of brings up my next question.
Yeah.
You know, when we're talking like just like this like transition to like new console, right? It's like this thing where like it's really corrupting the game industry, right? And I'm not talking about like like old games transition to new ones, and they always try to like make sure you buy the newest stuff.
That's
always
true.
buy.
Yeah.
Right? And it kind of makes me think like what's ruining the game industry, things like microtransactions, DLCs and stuff like that, or I couldn't figure out what the term was called, like non-compatible engineering or design, like
That's 100%.
Controllers not working for others or something,
And so,
or like for example, I think my best example is like the Xbox 360. They had like you couldn't use a regular pair of headphones.
Yeah.
3.5 port. You had like this
specific kind of port.
2.1 point something.
yeah.
So
and
thin and so long.
I feel like they did that so we would buy their exclusive headphones.
Absolutely.
And it was such a vital thing. Like for like the one thing I remember is like remember like the Game Boy, that small little Game Boy.
Yeah.
You didn't need anything else to play with it, right?
Right.
But there were peripherals you can get. You can get like the Wii
Camera.
the Game Boy camera.
Yeah.
You can get the expansion packs. You can get the battery thing that holds. You know what I mean?
But
you
it was
didn't need that to function.
you didn't need that. It wouldn't stop you from playing the game.
Yes.
But But
Now it's fucked.
it's
Now it's
crazy.
cooked, bro.
Now you can't even play like one like I don't know what to tell you. It's just so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Like they're selling games nowadays. Like I mean, like they're selling games in parts now, in pieces. You know, like
Bro.
back then they would sell a complete full game,
Yeah.
right? Halo 3, full complete in every way, right? And if people wanted more, they would drop Halo Reach, Halo ODST.
That's how things should go.
You know, like those to me are like, you know what? I don't know if they're considered DLCs or whatever, but they're an expansion off the game. Same format, same design, everything like that. Just more story to it, more and more, right? More gameplay, right? But now it's crazy. Now it's like a necessity. You know?
I will say, I think they don't.
Fortnite skids, bro. Microtransactions, all that other bullshit.
I think they drop lore as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Like when I mean by that is like instead of like expanding on the universe,
Yeah.
they're more likely to reboot the universe.
Really?
No, really.
Yeah, isn't that sad?
And
It's just crazy. It's something I'm going to talk about later too.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
like Call of Duty, I was like looking at my game,
Yeah.
but it just like I have to go buy a subscription. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't need to buy. I wanted to
And-
play it.
And it kind of like since we're talking about like what's ruining all that, I want to ask you guys, what is like the biggest flop in the game industry? Like a game that was on its peak, it was on a roll, right? And then like somewhere it just fucked up. It just fell off hard. I'll give you my example.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Last of Us.
Oh, wait, the first one?
First one, fire.
Oh, second one.
It's like,
Oh man, I don't know what happened.
oh,
I don't know what that
Sweet
was.
baby Inc. Or something like that.
I feel like I forgot the writer, like the creator of the game. Like I feel like he's a good writer, but sometimes he's in his own head sometimes, and it really shows in the second game. The second game it was abysmal. The story made like almost no sense. It was like some kind of revenge is not the right way story or something like that, but it just hit all the wrong points. And gameplay was pretty good. Gameplay was fire, but like the story just really killed the whole series. I feel like because I don't think they're ever gonna make like a Last of Us Part 3. I don't think the story's ever gonna.
Nah, dude, it's done.
And no be all right there.
And I will say for Last of Us Part 2, which is interesting, you're right. Like if it built the story one way,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If you stick to your guns the entire way, that's fine. But if you throw away the original personality designs and the character designs of a character to chase a plot, I don't know.
it's gonna ruin them.
It's gonna ruin it because that's not in character. How the main thing about building a character is to know that character in and out.
Right.
But for your fans, when you see Naughty Dog, like the response,
Yeah.
they were like, that's not in their character. You know,
Yeah.
that's not why would someone, right, which is Ellie, like if they're
Joel.
for peace,
Ellie
Joel,
Joel.
if they're here for peace, if they're trying to start their life anew, you know, would she really want a revenge story, like a full is that what he would want? I don't think that's.
It makes no sense because she's killed so many people in pursuit of it, and then like right when they get to the pinnacle, like the final
she
moment,
doesn't do it.
and then also she's forgiving them.
And that's major spoil.
Whoa, yeah.
That's a
Spoiler
major
alert.
Spoiler,
But
my
that's-
bad.
but you're
Spoiler
right.
alert.
You're right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go through with it, stick with your
Stick with your guns.
Stick with your guns. But go ahead.
So you,
I'll tell you. I say a flop. Actually, recently, what just happened? I just researched more about it. Concord.
yeah.
Concord was hands down one of the biggest flops
Whole-
that we've seen.
I heard about this.
Imagine building a game for more than like 5 years, right?
5
I think it was like
years?
7 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Was that on Xbox or PS?
I think it's on PC,
All platforms.
all platforms. And I think it was through EA. I'm not sure if it was EA, but either way, imagine building a game for even if it's longer than I'm just gonna give it less because I'm not 100% sure on this, but more than 2 years, right? 2-3 years, spending so much money on it.
That's crazy.
So much money on it for there to be enough player bases where you can give a refund out after canceling.
Oh,
What?
So what happened to the entire project? They ended up after like 2 weeks of their release, right? Or
Yeah.
I think a month of their release or 3 weeks of their release. They just said this was a dead project. This is not making money.
Man, bro.
what? The
So
heck?
so they not only just canceled the project, they refunded everybody.
Everybody, the money,
Yeah.
yeah.
And was Concord like a battle royale or was it like?
a battle royale.
Man, these battle royales are getting out of
sucks.
hand, bro.
But I think it was like a more. I think it was like
Or
a more
not-
team fight Valorant type setting. Like you could do teams.
Yeah, yeah.
and you could do
Like Overwatch?
Yeah, like Overwatch.
Okay,
Like
I'll give you
Overwatch.
All right, battle. I don't hate it. I give Apex a pass.
Apex is unique.
No.
Apex is different.
Apex is unique.
Apex cool. Apex on mobile, man.
Oh
bro.
man, they dropped that. Like,
They dropped that quick.
I heard about that story.
I was hooked.
too.
I was like, bro, I was like,
it's server.
I was a player.
I think it's purely server expenses or something like that.
really?
Yeah, I think so.
Ah, man.
I'm pretty sure
I think
they
so.
cannot keep up. Not keep up. I think it was not making money for them on the mobile.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh well, fucking
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
console and everything makes it
Because
better.
think about it. Once you buy, first of all, it's a free game.
Yeah.
It's a free game.
Yeah,
I will
it
let
is.
you know, Apex is not you don't buy it. it's in store transactions. So
Right.
imagine doing a free game, right? But a mobile version.
Yeah.
That's also for the Switch. That should hold not only just a Switch but mobile phones. That's a wider audience than people that have PCs.
Yeah.
A crazy wide
It's
audience.
easy. It's easy access. You know, it's almost you can play it practically anywhere. Like
So I
it's
think-
just
yeah.
somehow you see him play at fucking work. But they got rid of it. I got so mad. Bro.
I don't
That's
think
a-
But
right,
if-
sorry, go ahead.
If we're talking about like what makes a good game and what makes a bad one, right? I'm probably gonna ask you guys like what makes a good game, and like if so, what game are you currently playing?
The game Hitman.
Oh
in general.
wow.
I love the game Hitman.
Yes.
I'm trying to get the game on my Switch,
Yes.
but I'm just realizing some things about the game that I'm just turn me off. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
Pause.
Turn you off, huh?
No, did he? But
I'm sorry. Stop looking at me like that. All right, go ahead.
But I've been playing the game since like I want to say like middle school, you
Yeah.
know, on the PC
Yeah.
and everything like that. But then just recently, I'm seeing it coming out on the Switch,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get it, and I want to try it out.
Yeah.
But also, I'm trying to play it on my PS4 too. I have on my PS4. I have Hitman 4,
Yes. Yes.
which is really good. Amazing graphics.
Yeah.
Since I've been playing this since like old school times, you know.
Yep.
Seeing the game graphics developing and all that stuff was really amazing.
Yeah.
But one thing that I just was just so mad, it was just the game coming out in like parts. You know, like
Oh.
like you gotta like you get you gotta download, you gotta buy, you gotta get this
Listen, you have this
half a disc.
in the box.
What
is
the
this?
heck?
You can't use this.
You can-
A full game.
They just sent you the case.
You can at this point. Send me the download link.
No. You get the game. You play it, and it's a trailer.
Trailer.
This is what you could have.
Literally. Remember? Do you remember like before, like probably like 10 years, 20 years ago, like
Yeah.
they're like, put in disc B.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Flip the disc over.
Disc over.
Yeah, I remember that. What the hell?
Good luck with this, guys. But anyways,
Yeah.
coming back to our topic, I'm just trying to see like why. Also, you guys talk about you talking about like microtransactions and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say too. Like, you know, games are really coming to like money milking.
Yeah. Greedy.
Greedy.
That they're going for that cash,
Cash.
right? Over like making a masterpiece, you know? And I feel like it's that has a lot of problems in every kind of creative space, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's kind of like
Money ruins everything.
the consumer, the game consumer, are like, I think it's declining. Like people are just getting like, I don't know, bored, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of sad. Like I want to buy a full game. I don't want to have microtransactions and just get a full game and buy it. That's why like right now I don't know if I think I showed you guys like last week. Wolfenstein.
Oh, Wolf. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein. It's a really good game,
Yeah.
and I heard it rolls out in full. You don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to download
Yeah.
anything, and just go play it. It's a
It's a
like
great campaign.
it's a great campaign. It's like a sniper game
It's
too.
one where if Nazis won World War II, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Alternative timeline
Crazy.
are such cool concepts.
Such a cool
Yeah.
concept.
And the graphics is insane.
Remember Homefront?
Oh, from was good.
United Asian Republic? I don't know. It was like,
Oh,
and it's like, what would happen if like
Like-
Japan, China, Korea
it's
got
the
the
same-
shit together? Like,
It's the same thing. What would happen if they another world war happened and they won?
North Korea cooking, bro. They just show up at Florida, or what was it? Not Florida. It was
Normandy. Yeah,
San Francisco.
oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
but yeah.
But continue. Yeah.
But the one I have, the Hitman 4, like it comes with like green maps. It goes to like Paris, Dubai, and all that stuff. And the old ones too. But then when you just play the new one, it's just like you want to play the other maps. You want to go play. For example, like I'm playing like this sniper version, and it has only one map.
Oh my god, are
Just
you kidding
one
me?
map,
Yeah,
and
bro.
so you gotta go progress it.
Yeah.
Then you gotta like, oh, go buy this. I can't do that.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so far, I want to compare the three franchises. The three franchises. One, Hitman 2, 3, and 4. I've not played 1, so
Hitman Blood Money's Hitman 2, right?
yeah.
Oh my favorite Hitman
Do
game.
you remember when he dies? It just
Oh,
like,
and then the
the
Requiem
white-
scene.
yeah,
It's a Requiem.
yeah.
I remember that.
I love it.
Oh
I
man.
didn't play a lot of Hitman.
Yeah, man.
But
I
I think I
recommend
played
it
the
to you.
second one where like I don't know
Blood Money.
his friend died or something.
Yeah. So
I remember the movie.
Hitman Blood
Movie's
Money
solid.
follows his story where he gets betrayed by the agency and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and then he ends up with a final ploy. You know, actually, spoiler.
Spoiler.
A
Before
final
it was like
ploy,
that.
They
We usually say that before.
I know.
His mom was like, he's gonna go with this after company called Providence.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I used to work at a company called Providence. So
Oh.
Whoa.
Hitman MC. Oh.
Hey, what's that barcode right there?
Can I see the back of your head?
what was that?
No, continue.
Silent
Yeah,
assassin.
I remember
Watch
Hitman
out.
2. I remember Hitman 2. Like, I don't. Which one's Hitman 4? Though?
Hitman 4 is World of Assassination.
Is that the one? Which one has the DLCs? Like you have the partial games.
That's it.
That's it. The World of
Yeah, that's what I have.
Continue.
So stupid. But you know, I'm trying to go back to legacy version
Yeah.
games, so I can have full content. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to get it on Switch.
Yeah.
Hitman 3 is now on Switch,
Mhm.
so I'm trying to get that and play it.
Mhm.
So I want to try to say is generally games are coming to like, I don't want to say decline, but they're just become shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because not the content. Okay, content too, story wise, but also like how they're rolling it out, how like they're abusing the consumers.
Yes.
I'll
Yeah.
say that.
You know what?
Games have gone through like a cycle of like depressions, right? Like, wasn't there like a huge game, like almost games got ruined back in like the early 80s, late 80s, because there was just like so many bad games, and it gave games in general just a bad reputation. Nintendo kind of dug it out. You know, they got out of that. But it's when they had like those little cartridges,
You talking about this Dreamcast and stuff like that?
like back in the I'm gonna butcher this,
Yeah.
but back in the 80s, right? There was just an overflux of like just game cartridges.
Yeah.
Just so many of them, and there was just so many bad ones and no good ones that the public just thought the games were just not it.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time. Let's
Yeah.
just go back to playing outside. I guess I don't know.
Outside, yeah.
But I guess what happened was they dropped some kind of Nintendo console, which was so different, and they really just brought it out. You look at the early 2000s, and it was like the game boom. The games are just getting better and better and better, right? And they're really focusing on the target audience, you know. And then in the 2000s, in like the late 2010s, in like now we're currently in right now.
Yeah,
It's just like they don't give a fuck anymore.
absolutely not. That's what I'm saying.
And they're just going for that money, and they're just trying to,
Milk us.
I will say
To the drop.
Just to compare it, like, I would say in the 80s they were building to build the actual things, right? Even if
Yeah.
you feel like it wasn't, I feel like they were just building, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not even about building. It's about they literally see it as just a money funnel.
Money
Yeah, yeah.
funnel.
How do we? What's the easiest way we can get $69.99 off these things?
Bro, that's how Fortnite is
What's-
profiting. You know,
what's
It's
the
free
most
games.
taxing game you guys think? Like, what you gotta buy this, buy that?
Call of Duty.
Really?
Call of Duty is taxing.
My
Really?
God, why do I need a Call of Duty subscription? Why do I? Maybe I don't need a Call of Duty. Maybe I got it
Call
wrong.
of Duty
But
subscription. Whoa.
MC's getting scammed.
Nah.
I'm just getting
so
scammed.
I'm not playing Call of Duty, so I'm not getting scammed.
Yeah.
Scammer get scammed.
Scammer-
Anyway,
Scary gets scammed.
but anyways, I think Call of Duty is that.
You know,
What do they charge you by?
the
Character
sk-
steps.
It could be skins. It
every
could
time,
be.
every time a character move, they charge you $1.
Something like that. Because you buy a PS4, a PS membership, a PS Plus membership, and then you also buy skins, characters.
I'm just thinking like a game that. Okay. So
How about you? What do you think?
I'm currently playing.
Brother, I would say. Go ahead.
I was about to say like I'm playing. Okay, I'm playing Indie Wars.
Yeah.
I got really into it. My niece, all right. So I play games with my niece, right? She tells me like, I want to play this game. I want to play that game. Poppy playtime. tells me
Oh,
what she
Poppy
wants-
Playtime.
She tells me what she plays. I'm
Little
like, Poppy.
FNAF spin-off. Huh?
And I'm like, oh, I seen this like on YouTube, I guess. I was like, you sure you want to play this? Like, this looks dark, you know? She's like, I'm playing. So we play it, right? Game's only like, it's a good game.
Yeah.
Like, I want to tell you right now, I actually really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but it felt like a demo. And then like you have to wait,
Yeah.
like 6-7 months later
Yeah.
for the second part.
Because it's small teams working on it.
It's
when
small
it comes
teams.
to
Okay, all right.
Okay,
you know what?
okay,
I'm
okay.
shitting on them.
It's not no AAA rated.
No hate on
They're
developers.
indie. All right,
Yeah,
they're
they're
indie.
indie.
I gotta love slack.
I would say for that, give them a little slack.
Yeah.
But still, the price tag doesn't warrant. You know, because their price tags are probably like $15, $20. It's not
yeah.
that $69.99. I'd say
I
the
think
most.
it was like $9.99.
Yeah.
All right, I'm hating.
No, you're not hating. I'm just saying. You're still spending money for those small.
Yeah,
That you should be
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Like, hold off and build a better product. That's
Yeah.
you know, I get it. But these AAA rated titles,
Yeah.
$69.99,
Yeah.
and you're telling me, I'm getting a DLC pack.
Yeah.
I'm down portion of the
Yeah.
game.
Portion of the game?
Are you kidding?
But what were you saying?
But
Just, to wrap it up,
yeah,
I just would like to say, like, I personally would like to have a game that's fully complete,
yes,
and also story is complete as well.
yeah.
We when I mean like complete games, like I don't need to buy a subscription, I don't need to buy an add-on, I need to buy those microtransactions you mentioned earlier.
To add on to that, like I'm telling you, I love solo campaigns.
Yep.
Right? It just shows how creative you are. And you know, I'll give you an example. Let's transition into my segment.
Yeah.
Dead Space.
Whoa. Okay.
Like
All right.
like Dead Space is hands down. If I were to say a creative solo campaign game, right?
Yeah.
I would say that.
I never played this.
Same.
Can you explain it?
I'm gonna try to break it up as simply as I can.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go over three main things. Right. Threat assessment, lore,
Yeah.
and then purpose. Right. And with threat assessment, it's gonna be pretty much just like explaining the enemies, what they are, and stuff like that. And then for purpose and lore, like I'll try to break up lore and purpose together so that so I can make as much sense for you guys.
Okay.
This should be good because I'm not too familiar with Dead Space. I
Yeah.
heard about it, but I'm not too familiar with it.
And I'm here to tell you, like, this. The reason why I even bring this up is like,
Yeah.
when it comes to like villains in games, right?
Okay.
Normally you say to yourself, oh dude, this is, you know, that guy's a terrible villain in the game, like Sephiroth or Bowser. These are terrible guys in the game, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, there are deeper, darker horrors as villains and like antagonists in stories,
Yeah.
especially in the horror genre. And for
Okay.
Dead Space, it's my number one.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll explain first the main enemy in Dead Space, which
Okay.
is Necromorphs. Right?
Oh, Necromorphs.
And I
Necromorphs.
know you heard about Necromorphs before. So,
Yeah.
so the Necromorphs, they're reanimated and genetically altered dead tissue.
Gotcha.
They transform at a cellular level to carry out the will of the marker. Normally in the game, when we see Isaac, the main character, we like shoot Necromorphs and stuff like that. Anytime you shoot center mass or in the headshot, they just keep on coming, right? But the proper way to stop a Necromorph is to restrict its movements. And the main reason is they don't die.
That sounds so frustrating.
Even when you shoot off their limbs,
Yeah.
imagine that body or that corpse as future biomass hive minds.
Classic.
And hive minds are, it's in general, it's just like a combination of all these necromorphs, right? To become one central intelligence for all necromorphs in the area.
Right.
But not just that, they're a conduit. They're a repeater for the signal itself, so that they can create more necromorphs.
Puppets on strings.
Puppets on strings.
Puppets on strings.
And one main thing about the hive mind is we can see that it's slowly affecting Isaac as he's playing the game. You know, it's changing his.
So Isaac is like
the main character, and I'll explain on that just to explain the enemies and break that down. But the hive mind is just imagine like an amalgamation of a bunch of necromorphs on a single planet.
Right.
And then we have the pinnacle of the known lore for Dead Space, Brethren Moons.
Yeah.
We're talking about planetary-sized hive minds. So the previous was like a smaller hive mind that's maybe like a spaceship wide or something like that. We're talking about an entire planet being a single hive mind.
One thinking.
Of biomass?
Of biomass. And
What?
it's all created
Whoa.
after a convergence event that happens. And I'll explain the convergence event and stuff like that. But the Brethren Moon
Yeah.
is highly intelligent.
Right.
It can telepathically talk to every other necromorph or every other Brethren Moon around them,
Yeah.
and they can converge on a single planet and just destroy that planet.
Whoa.
So they're like pretty much planet busters or galaxy busters. Right?
Galaxy Busters. Okay.
Ultimately, just to say, if you ever witness a single Brethren Moon and you
Game
see
over.
it, it's over.
Game over.
So, and that's pretty much a breakdown of all the main character, the main enemies that I wanted to talk about. But now we can just get into a little bit of the lore, right?
Yeah.
So, at the heart of Dead Space, the entire saga, we're with Isaac Clarke. He's an engineer, right? And his goal is to find the love of his life, Nicole.
Cool.
But at the beginning of this story, we don't know about this until like the new remake and stuff like that. But he heard about the problem that happened on this planet cracker called USG Ishimura, and this is a ship. It's a large ship that drains resources from planets. It's called a planet cracker.
Okay.
So when they arrive at this place, they're like, what's going on? There's supposed to be comms on their spaceship. There's supposed to be communication back and forth between like, hey, you want these repairs? We'll do these repairs.
Right.
But that's not what happens. The entire station was radio silent.
Come in.
Mayday.
And all you hear is so what they do is
Ominous.
they try to dock, and the moment they dock, they crash land. And at this point, you have this thought of, you know what, I can still find my wife, or not my wife, but I can still find my the love of my life. She's still here, but we find out that he's a little in denial. He knows that they're all, she might be dead, but he needs to find her.
Grief
That's
is
why
one
he,
hell of a thing.
that's
Grief,
why he
yeah.
volunteered. And then we're introduced to the necromorphs and these creatures,
Right.
and then we ultimately get to a point where we're slowly decaying, like our mind is getting affected by the markers. And the main thing about the markers is, and especially how they relate to like the necromorphs and why that this entire series is like such a game over scenario,
Right.
is the fact that the markers themselves, they affect DNA in general.
Okay.
Whether or not it's in animals, whether or not it's in humans, it doesn't matter. As long
Right.
as you have cells and DNA, you're slowly getting attacked and attacked. Dementia, hallucination,
Degrading.
mentally degrading to the point where you end up killing yourself to
Oh.
become the host
A host.
of a necromorph. So
What?
once you're dead,
That's
the
crazy.
marker can
Literally.
take. Once you're dead, the marker will take over your body.
Okay.
The only goal for it is to degrade your mind,
Yeah.
so that you can just kill yourself.
Why doesn't it just take over when you're just alive? Why do you have to die?
Because the ultimate, that's where we can get to the purpose, right? Let me start from the actual, like what the markers actually are, right?
But also, if you're alive, you are gonna resist. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
take them out.
And that's where I'll talk about the two branches, right?
Mhm.
But the first black marker, we're talking about. So there's red markers and black markers,
Okay.
and in the history of Dead Space, there's a single marker that was a very important part and pivotal part of Earth's like timeline, right? And this
Okay.
one crash landed on Earth. Do you guys remember the age of the extinction for the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
That was
A
the
little
black.
theory.
That was the black marker.
Oh, that was the black marker.
So the first black marker to reach
Uh-huh.
Earth was embedded inside an asteroid.
the Younger Dryas. That was black marker. Whoa.
The asteroid that struck the Yucatan Peninsula around 65 million years ago. An event that caused mass extinction of the dinosaurs. The marker remained dormant
Yeah.
until it was discovered later by humans.
Okay.
Now I'll talk about more who discovered it, why that it's an end game situation, but
Right.
just to tell you what the marker does. The marker is a signal, a frequency that alters your brain.
Like,
and when
like a radio wave.
a radio wave, and when it first hit Earth,
Right.
it would latch onto any sentient life.
Okay.
And I would imagine at the time of dinosaurs, there weren't any sentient life,
Because
right?
of its impact. Yeah.
Right? But any sort of Homo sapiens. Have you noticed where they were like Homo sapiens? They just brought up out of nowhere.
The rapid. Yeah.
out of nowhere.
The theory is like they found magic mushrooms. Or something
Yeah, they're like wherever it was.
But that was the black marker.
the black marker, and it evolved their
Okay.
mind so that they can become advanced.
Yeah.
They could think about, let's hunter gatherers to do this, to industrial evolution.
So it
to
manipulated its
space
evolution.
It manipulated the evolution so they
Become
can
more
be
sentient.
more sentient and more spacefaring. So they said,
Spacefaring.
go. It's like go for the stars. Try to expand as much as you can. Now, what's the main issue when societies and colonies go and become spacefaring?
They go to other planets.
They go to other planets. But what happens when, even now we're dealing with it. It's overpopulation, not
Oh.
enough resources.
Oh.
What are we gonna turn to? And that's the beauty in this story,
Right.
which is actually the opposite, the most destructive part of the
Yeah.
story. It makes it so that they want to be spacefaring so much that they'll exhaust all their resources
Right.
and always and inevitably run back to the marker,
Why the marker?
because the marker has that signal. And at first, when it's discovered, it was discovered by Dr. Altman, right? Michael Altman.
Okay.
And he was like, man, this is potentially a new resource that we can use.
Mhm.
This is an energy resource.
It
that's
thinks it's an
limitless.
energy. It thinks it's an energy source.
Yeah.
They make it so that it's an energy.
Also, they've been
It's gonna
seduced.
convert it.
It's
Hypnotic.
because at this point there's just only one black marker, but
Gotcha.
the goal is to make red markers everywhere across the universe.
It reminds me of that amoeba, that virus that gets onto like rats
Yeah.
and makes them addicted to cat urine.
Oh, okay.
So they stand in front of cats and all that, and then the
Yes.
cats will kill them, and then the amoebas will reproduce in the cat's liver or something, and then they piss, and the rats drink the piss.
I think it's called taximosis or something like that.
Yeah.
But imagine
It's crazy though.
at
The
this
videos
point,
are crazy. That's
It
like,
thinks the black market just like it
the
makes
human-
it
the human discovers it because they
the
need
black
it.
market becomes addictive in a way because like it's like something that the humans want, even though they don't really realize what it really
Yeah,
is.
they don't know
Just
what it
like
is.
how the rat doesn't really understand,
understand what it is. Yes.
or it's being seduced in the same way.
Yeah,
You know?
and at this point, you're at a point in the timeline. That's why I say think about 500 years in the future.
Yeah.
You're probably dealing with energy loss and energy resource depletion, and I explained later the Ishimura, which is a planet cracker.
Yeah.
The entire reason the Ishimura was built was to go to other systems and
Yeah.
other planets
Yeah.
to crack the planet and take its resources.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
the Ishimura ended up in that situation because they went on a planet called Aegis 7. And
Aegis
Aegis 7 was, I'm talking about a million years before,
Right.
right? That outbreak happened.
Oh, there's a marker
There's
on
another- yeah,
on the planet.
on the
Gotcha.
planet,
The
gotcha.
marker.
And it's just an and it wasn't. I'm not sure if it was a million years ago.
So
because
this
that might have-
civilization got cooked the same way.
Yes.
It got cooked the same way. There's examples of it being cooked because
Right.
I think I'm thinking about Tool of Atlantis, which is another planet that actually had a marker at that time,
Right.
and it just all it did was ice age the entire planet.
Oh.
And we discovered that on Calypso, the Dead Space. The
Right.
lore is all over the place, but just know that there's examples of planets that
Right.
that had these outbreaks happen, or this advancement to like
Right.
use the markers,
Right.
and they ended up being either an end game or a stalemate.
Right. So I'm assuming these markers on these other planets were a failure in a way because they're not brother moons, right?
Yeah, they're failures. So
Gotcha.
I'll explain this just in terms of like the markers in general, right? Once the marker was discovered, there were two trains of thought, right?
Okay.
People that were truly affected by the marker,
Yeah.
and others that were like vessels or people that held the code of the marker,
Right.
right? And Dr. Altman at that time, right? He had a branch called unitologists,
Right.
and they're a major part of the entire storyline, right?
Right.
So you're dealing with, at this point, resources are gone. There's nothing you could do about this.
So he's a vessel.
We
Yeah.
have to create this, right? So they fund a lot of money and they create a red
Right.
marker. They replicate the first red marker,
Yeah.
and that first red marker is shown up on Aegis 7, and they're like, you know what? Okay, let's try to do as much as we can here. Hold on, what's going on? People are turning into Necromorphs. Holy shit! And they just cancel the entire project. Done there, done data.
Okay.
Everyone ends up on that planet. That entire planet, the entire issue.
Okay.
Right.
cut. Right? And the Ishimura at that time shows up on that planet to like crack the planet, and they end up dying. And that's all because of the original red marker that was created on that planet.
Right.
So, and then the timeline from Dead Space 1 is coming across this Aegis 7, this planet, and you're like, what the this is worse than we could ever seen it. This is ridiculous. But the main, and I know I'm dragging this along, but the main thing about this timeline is what happens at this point. Because we at this point, no one else in this like system knows about the red markers anymore, except Isaac Clarke.
Lone survivor.
And that's the main character of this
Okay.
story.
Yeah.
So when he goes to the this planet to find his wife, and he ends up realizing that his wife is actually truly dead. And at this point, the marker has affected him so much
Right.
that he's telling him, "You knew that your wife died, huh? But you still came. Yeah, that's fine.
What the heck?
Our plan. We needed you here. We wanted you here.
You can't resist it.
He can't resist it. And
It's
it
just like
ends
the
up-
rat.
It's
and
that
it ends
pesky
up-
DNA.
and it ends up right.
Yeah.
it ends up Isaac leaving the planet, but he's the code, the alien technology that's in his mind, the marker, right, the signal is embedded in his mind,
Right.
and so he ends up being discovered by this guy named Mercer. And this is a new government that's filling the vacuum of the entire system of like trying to find as much resources and stuff like that. So that's called, I think that was I think his new under the guise of a company called EarthGov.
Okay.
And this is where it's total annihilation. The moment Isaac, this is Dead Space 2, the moment Isaac is found by Mercer and experimented on, where he builds and replicates the first marker after the one that was found on Aegis 7.
Oh no.
The first time, that's the second time it got replicated, right?
Right.
Mercer copied that blueprint, sent it off to all other colonies across the entire territories,
Yeah, GG's.
right?
GG.
But there was a thing in place. It was a
Right.
shroud, because they knew about the issues that the marker had.
Right.
As long as the signal had a shroud, we could use it for its potential resources, right? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
What could
man?
go wrong? And I'll tell you what could go wrong.
Yeah.
You remember how I said that the signal can affect you in two different ways?
Yeah.
It could be you just become a vessel, or like where you
And a vessel, you mean, is like someone they'll build.
that can build another
They'll
marker.
build. Okay.
Or you can just go mad.
Right.
Okay.
The Unitologist. You remember when I brought up Dr. Altman?
Yeah.
He founded a religion called Unitologists
Mm-hmm.
that wanted to preserve the original way of the markers,
Oh God.
right? And that kept going and going and going and going to the point where we're at EarthGov, who threw away all the restrictions of creating a marker and should have left this project in the past and brought it up, and now it's scattered across all of their entire territories.
Right.
The Unitologists know exactly what to do, and they're affected. They're affected by
The marker turned into a religion.
The marker turned into a religion, and it affected these people. From Dead Space 2, we get to a point where the blueprint is out there. The colonies are going to recreate these markers, right?
Right.
They're gonna send out. It's no longer in Isaac's hand. He's just all he can do is possibly stop the convergence that's gonna happen, you know. But
that would be impossible.
that would be it's already an end game situation.
Yeah.
You know, so he sends off once Mercer sends off, and like this company, Earth government sends off
Right.
the blueprints for the markers.
Right.
The marker has what it needs now. It's across from Dead Space 2 to Dead Space 3. The markers are all across
Yeah.
all of the territories.
Well, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, in the way of the marker, in
Yeah.
how it affects people, and you mentioned two different ways.
Yeah.
What characteristics do you have to affect the one way or another?
One's madness and becoming like killing
Yeah.
yourself and becoming a necromorph,
Right.
and the other is like Isaac Clarke, because Isaac Clarke is still alive through
Right.
1, 2, and 3. Why? Because
He's
there's
smart
there's another thing for him. He's
Yeah.
a vessel.
So he's smart enough to build one.
He's not just smart enough to build one.
Right.
You have that willpower. You have that I guess predisposition to like hold the
Yeah.
code, the
Right.
alien code
Huh.
technology in your mind,
Right.
so that you can replicate it. That's
Wow.
all it is.
Mm.
And we see this in the story. There are certain characters that can like keep the alien technology in their mind,
Right.
but they're just killed off, you know, because of the outbreak in general. It doesn't.
Right.
The thing doesn't care, right? Isaac Clarke would have died already. It doesn't matter. That's not the end game, or like that's not the goal
Right.
of the marker, you know.
Right.
Oh, we have to shield Isaac Clarke. It doesn't care if Isaac Clarke dies or not. Its goal is already there.
Right.
Because
Right.
the Unitologists, those are people that have been maddened, right? These people have gone crazy. They're the ones that took off the shroud on all these colonies, ending up. We're talking about planets who were wiped out within hours.
Hours.
Oh man.
Systems and clusters were wiped out within days. We're talking about no radio silence, right? So
Right.
overall, you know, we get to a point where, you know, and I was playing and I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, this isn't, you know, like the narrative of Dead Space itself is like framed as like a survival story, that there's hope for humanity,
Right.
and like humanity can endure this threat like normally, right?
Right.
But as we go to the end and we unravel that, okay, necromorphs are deadly. Oh man, these are like zombies. Oh my god, this is sick.
Right.
You know, it's not that. These markers, it becomes clear that it's not a story about Isaac saving humanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journal of humanity's extinction. But here's the thing about the markers, right? With the first Brethren we see, those were all from humans. The biomass was created there was from humans,
Okay.
and it's just a machine. because it was the red marker was man-made, something that we made. Are you telling me those Brethren moons are something we created, and it was alien technology? Who the hell created the first black marker that dropped 65 million years ago?
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. What the hell?
And that's why it's one of the most. I'm not even gonna say what. It's the most terrifying enemy and villain to deal with in video game history.
Yeah.
And it's just to reiterate and say, you know, when we're in this story, we're trying to save the world, and
Right.
we end up saving the world in Dead Space 2.
Right.
You know, we end up. We have hope for humanity.
Yeah.
Isaac Clarke is going through all this stuff. But then we realize we're past the critical mass. This has already been
man,
inevitable.
what
This
the
is
hell?
destined.
What the heck?
This is whatever you want to call fate, whatever you want to call it. You know, the marker made the unitologists betray their own race to, you know,
they thought they were doing
to create the convergence events on all these colonies and end up a truly dead space.
Dead Space.
Perfect. I like that.
Crazy, bro.
Wow.
Thank you so much for listening to the end, and we really appreciate your support. Make sure you follow us on all our socials. Links are in the description below. If you enjoyed today's conversation or have any ideas for future topics, drop us a comment. We're just getting started, but with your help, we'll keep growing and serving up fresh ideas. Until next time, signing off.